Welcome to Making Sense, the Guest Spotlight. My name is Alison Blackler and I have had the privilege of talking to some fantastic guests over recent times. You can hear their interviews here. I hope you enjoy. So I am really excited to actually be spending a bit of time on this little spotlight guest series with Katie Oman, who I'm for the first time speaking to properly today, but she and I have been on a little journey together. But first of all, introduce yourself, Katie, to everyone.
Hi, everybody. Yes, I am Katie, and I have lots of strings to my bow, which suits me down to the ground. So I identify as a women's empowerment coach. I am an author. I am a book coach. I am a motivational speaker, event organizer, and psychic.
Wow. So we're already inspired before we've even started, but I love that. And I love the kind of connection that you have with people, but obviously with yourself as well. So tell everyone, I'm interested as well to get to know you a bit more and kind of what's a bit more of your journey, what's got you to be doing all those wonderful things.
Well, it definitely has been a journey. I've definitely gone down the back roads and taken the scenic route to get to where I am now. And certainly didn't set off on my journey with this intention. Way back when I was 16, I actually started training as a nursery nurse. That was my first qualification, and then realised that it wasn't. I mean, I love children, but it wasn't really my bag. But then I went and got my English and drama degree, and then I became a high school teacher. So I did that for a little while, which was I have lots of stories about that, as you can imagine. But in 2010, I had a real tower moment in my life when we lost my grandparents really suddenly in a really shocking way. And it really shook me to my very core. And before that, I realized looking back now that I was actually quite lost and I felt very like I was like a boat without an oar or a sail or a compass. I didn't really know where I was going, and life was happening to me, you know. And the other thing was I didn't really like myself very much. Although I've always kind of been this on the outside, on the inside I was like wobbly jelly, you know. It was like low self-esteem, low self-worth, like not very much confidence, imposter syndrome, the whole bag of crap, right? So having this like real tower moment was the catalyst for my spiritual awakening, as tends to happen. And then that took me on a whole different journey where I started to fully understand and accept who I actually am underneath the surface level. And in the last 13 years, it's kind of been like refinement. Like every step is a refinement and an alignment to my purpose and my passion. And it was 2 years ago. I had an Akashic record reading done by a lovely friend of mine. And she basically said that brought through that my purpose was to support women and girls. And I was already doing it, which is true. And I just needed to fully embrace it and step into that space. And since I've done that, it lights me up like nothing else. It is my bread and butter. I love it so much.
I love that. And there's so much synergy with my story, and I love to share it as well, because if others are listening to this or have a situation where they feel small, they feel like they're the only one, they feel like they're not driving their own life, then they need to hear from people to say, it's okay. And we can work step by step, day by day, towards a different goal. And I'm a real big advocate of sharing that. You know, I'm quite honest about my situation. I also was a bit like you. I love you, jelly. I looked like I was okay on the outside, but inside I had a lot of doubt, a lot of uncertainty about myself. I wasn't putting myself in good situations necessarily. I didn't know where I was going either. And my journey set off similarly to yours. So I love that. I love the fact we've got all that synergy, but I know that there's so many people out there who are similar, but who may be at a different point on their journey. And I think that's where we've got to talk about it, haven't we? We have got to share how.
Absolutely. I think when you're going through something, I know from my experience that you feel like you're the only person in the world, that everybody else has got their stuff sorted out, everybody else knows what they're doing, everyone else has got a plan. I realize now as I got older, that's really not true. Everyone's just making it up as they go along. But in those moments of darkness, the biggest light, I think, is other people's stories, other people's experiences, seeing that, oh, I'm not alone. And then not only do you then feel less alone, you also get a roadmap out. That's not to say that what someone else has done to get themselves out is exactly what you should do. But I think it gives you inspiration. I think it gives you, oh, I do have options. I'm not just stuck down here for the rest of my life. And that is incredibly powerful.
Definitely. I think it is. And it's, for me, it's always that, what's the one step that you can do towards getting this, whatever it is that you're trying to either get rid of or get more of. And it's that combination, isn't it, of that people need to hear. And it is so important to remember that when you are stuck down in your dirt, in the mess, in the horribleness, that you often can't see options for yourself there. And that is where, definitely we need to speak up. We need to talk to others. We need to realize that we're not alone. And I know women are good generally at talking to each other and things, but it's still what you're thinking when you're on your own, or the darker days. Definitely, I've had plenty of those. So it's all good. So I think it'd be great for us to share a bit more about how we came to meet and what has happened since. So tell everyone, because it's just a brilliant thing. I'm going to get mine.
So I have done lots of speaking events up and down the country, and I had one in Cambridge, and it went really well, and I was really, had a good response from the audience and whatnot. And on the train home, I was really flat, and I couldn't understand why. And I'm like, I should be really happy right now. What's going on? And I realized that it's because I had nothing lined up for next, because I'm always like, okay, what's next, and there was nothing really in the diary, and that made me feel a little bit and then the message came through that do it yourself, and I was like, I can't do an event myself, to be silly, I wouldn't even know where to start. But the thought wouldn't really go away, so you start to kind of do a bit of exploration around it, and from that I created a women's empowerment event in Norwich, where I live, called Rise. The first one was in 2019, and it was completely my baby. From start to finish, I did the whole thing. It was a sellout. It sold out with like 2 months before even the event. And we have some amazing speakers that stand up and they share their experiences and their stories and their trauma, their challenges. But it's not like a day of like darkness and health, it's not depressing, because I also say to them, don't just give the pain, show us how you got out of the pain and where you are now. Give us some inspiration, give us some hope. And so to have that space of women is magical and beautiful and powerful, and something is just wonderful. It's born out of that space, and that we've laughed, we've cried, we've danced, we've shared. It's beautiful. And then, of course, couldn't do it over 2020, obviously, and brought it back in 2021. But I also was getting messages from other women around the UK, but also the world, going, oh, I wish I could speak. I wish I could come. And I realized that, of course, every woman's got a story. And who am I to deny them a space to tell their story? So from that, the first anthology was born, which was a book of women's stories that they had that space and that platform then to share in the same kind of vein as the event. And then, so I did that, the first book last year. It was, again, beautiful. Half the proceeds went to a charity that supports young girls and women to empower them, which I'm very passionate about. And then, so this year, I'm like, well, I've got to do it again, right? So the second anthology was created. And again, you put the word out, anybody got a story they'd love to share. And you were one of the people that came to me with your amazing story. And I knew I had to put you in the book, because it's so incredible what you've been through, and very inspirational to where you are now. And then not only that, you're coming to my actual event in Norwich on 28th of October. So I get like a double whammy of Alison. I get her story in the book and I get her story in person. It's magical. I'm so excited.
Oh, me too. And I've just reached for my copy of, as we're doing video, of this book, which I would urge people to go and get, because there are 17 other ladies or 16 other ladies who've also shared all sorts of different stories as well. And just reading them, it does something to you. I mean, writing it for me, and I think for me personally, Katie, it was I tell people a lot of what my story is, but I've never actually written it down like I have. And I do think I'm probably going to write more, so go deeper into the story in some way, for the whole reason of just being able to share and help people see that you're not on your own. We've got you back.
Absolutely. I mean, even putting all the stories together and, collaborating them into one space, the main thing I get is this amazing sense of pride. I feel so, and somebody actually came to me and said, it's like a women's circle in book form, which I was like, oh God, that's beautiful, because that's what it is. It's a safe space. And I said to, we had a woman who was severely dyslexic, but she's an artist. So she drew her story through her paintings and her pictures. We had another one that did poetry, and her whole story is an amazing off-the-cuff poem. It's beautiful. And it's just, and the range of experiences, the range of stories, the range of women, it's an incredible thing that I'm immensely proud of, that I've been able to create and hold that space, And
you should be. I mean, it is, it will have been lots of work for you, but just that creation of something beautiful and that will go on. Not only does it empower the people who've written the story, it empowers the people who are going to the ladies and women that are going to read it, and girls, hopefully. I think it's something that's really important. So I love it.
Thank you.
Well done. Lots of, and I feel sure that with what you've just said, there'll always be more things. So you'll keep doing something else.
Well, one of my little mantras that I say is I'm saving the world one woman at a time. And I really believe in the power of women. I really think that women are more capable and strong and powerful than even they realize. And my life's work now is to make them see that, and to lift them up for themselves, to give them the wings to fly. And so all of us can be the change we want to see,
I love that. Okay, so if someone was listening in, what were you going to give them as a little tip, your top tip, just something that's tangible that they could run with? What's on your mind today?
Well, as somebody who's working very much now with kind of positive mindset and trying to be very aware of my thoughts and all that stuff, I will say to you that not everything you think is true. And I used to really, well, it's the mind. Well, surely all my thoughts are my own. And actually, no, they're not. Your thoughts, and I know you know this, Alison, a lot of your thoughts that you have are not yours.
Yeah.
A lot of the thoughts that you have are stuff that you've picked up along the way from other people, and other people's fears, and other people's control, and other people's jealousy or anger, whatever it is, but they all kind of sit somewhere in here. And so when you're having these like horrible thoughts towards yourself, it's really worthwhile just to take a breath, just stop for a second, rather than allowing the runaway train to go, because we've all been there.
Sure.
That horrible space, like nobody can bully you more than you bully yourself. And in that space, just catch it and take a breath. And try, I know it's hard, it's a practice, but try and step back and say, whoa, where the hell did that come from? Who's that thought? Is that my thought? And if it is my thought, why do I think that about myself? Is this even true? Is it helpful? Is there a better thought? And the more that you can catch yourself in those spaces, and the more that you can try and replace it with something that is more positive and helpful and kind towards yourself, the more that you will shift your mindset. It is a practice. I mean, I've been on the self-love journey now since 2016. And I always say some days I am Beyonce and some days I am Gollum. That's fine. On my Gollum days now, I don't spiral down for months on end like I used to. I just know that it's a Gollum day and it's fine. We will realign tomorrow and we'll come back to our Beyonce space. And that's fine. But it is a practice. And the more that you can give yourself that kindness and compassion and forgiveness, the more that you will stay in those good spaces more and more and more. And it's definitely worth it. You are worth that time. You are worth that effort. Don't look to other people to rescue you.
Yeah. I love that. So powerful. And it's so powerful to just remember, isn't it, that we don't have to be okay all of the time. That's not the goal. We will have days. You and I have days that we don't feel right, and we're exposing something else, or we're exploring something else, or we're just doing that horrible thing to ourselves again, because we can easily do it just like anyone else.
It's so true. I mean, women are great. Women are more likely to have the conversations, like you said. But women also do something that it's a bit sneaky. We tell people that we're fine. And I've realized, my mum gave me this and I love it. FINE is an acronym. FINE stands for, and apologies because I'm about to swear, so if you're sensitive, cover your ears for a second. FINE stands for fucked off, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. So when a woman says she's fine, she is not fine. She is barely hanging on. And so actually, we need to kind of give ourselves, like I say, the same things that we willingly give to everybody else. We put everybody else before ourselves, and we're just there going, I'm not okay, but if I get to the end of the day I can have wine and that be okay. And it's like, actually, you're allowed to not be okay, absolutely, but it's not okay for you to stay there indefinitely. So it's like, how do we get ourselves out of that space, you know?
Definitely. And there are so many different options. I mean, I sometimes notice that people know a lot of the options and they can almost feel overwhelmed because there are so many things that you could, should, ought to be doing. And for me, it is just that, what's that one thing that you could do today?
Yeah, exactly. Just one little thing. I see, these big leaps of faith, but literally, like, have your lunch sitting in the garden with the sunshine on your face. That is a really positive thing, because you're getting your serotonin, you're getting your vitamin D. It's going to lift your mood. It's a bit of self-care. It's a little tiny thing, but it's going to make you feel so much better.
Definitely. Oh, Katie, I've loved chatting with you. I know we're going to do lots more lovely things together, and obviously I'm going to come and be part of your day in October, which I can't wait for. So we'll be promoting that. If anyone is listening and is down that way, it would be amazing. But there'll be lots of amazing people there anyway.
Yes, absolutely. So that's October the 28th in Norwich. And like I say, if you want to know more, ask Alison or reach out to me, and we can definitely give you all the details. It's going to be awesome.
Tell everyone where they can find you. We will put it in the post that goes out, but tell everyone where they can find you, Katie.
Yeah, my website is, it's just me. I used to hide behind many names, but I accept myself fully now. So it is Katie Oman, which is oman.co.uk. And you come on there, you can chat to me, you can come and see everything that I do. And any questions, just let me know.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time today.
You're very welcome, Alison, and thank you for holding this space. It's gorgeous. And I see you, girl, and you're doing awesome things. So keep going.
Thank you. Ditto.
Thank you so much, sweetheart. Bye, everybody.